Hey everybody, what is going on? Hraesvelgr here with another Master Duel video for you guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at our very first games from Season 5. Yeah, climbing through Gold up to Platinum 5. It's just weird saying Season 5 instead of 4 now, that's why I hesitated there. But yeah, we are now in Season 5, and of course I planned on beginning my climb with Adamantipator. I think I mentioned this in a couple of videos. But the climb wasn't going as smoothly with them as I had hoped. I kind of was just getting really unlucky with my coin flips and going second a lot. And Adamantipator can certainly win going second, but it is much more difficult to do than, say, with, well, good old Tri-ZEUS here. So I did decide to switch to Tri-ZEUS a little bit earlier than I intended. I think it was at Gold 4 when I switched over to Tri-ZEUS. And was able to get up to Plat 5 here pretty easily. We're actually still on the first night of the new season. At the time I'm recording this, we're a little over 5 hours into the season. And as I can show you here for proof real quick, yep, I'm now in Plat 5. So, yep, decided to take a break here now that I've gotten up to Platinum. Here's the deck I'm looking for. Yep, now that I've gotten up to Platinum, I decided to take a little break from actually dueling by stopping to make this video. So, this build is the one that I covered in my last video, which was, you know, just going over the decks that I intended to climb with. Of course, we are now doing a lot more with Tri-ZEUS than Adamantipator than intended, but, you know, it is what it is. So, let's go over the list here really quick. If you want to see a more detailed version or like breakdown of this list, then feel free to check out the description for the deck's combo guide and deck profile. If you're curious whether or not I'm going to be doing an updated list, as you can see this list does have 3 Fraktall in it. I will closer to when the ban list actually drops. For this first week of the season, at the very least during my climb up to our new ranks, which I haven't even talked about yet. We'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, until I get to the top rank now, which is Diamond 1 instead of Plat 1, I will be continuing to climb using, you know, decks from the current or quote-unquote old ban list. So, this build has 3 Tri-Brigade Nervall, 3 Maxx, 2 Tri-Brigade Kerass, 3 Tri-Brigade Kitt, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 of each Zoodiac's Whiptail, Thoroughblade, and Ramram. Excuse me, 3 Tri-Brigade Fraktall, 2 Nibiru the Primal. Oh, excuse me. Oh, hiccups there. Sorry about that. 2 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Harpie's Feather Duster, 3 Desires, 1 Lightning Storm, 3 Tenki, 2 Called By, 3 Droplet, 3 Droplet to Imperm, and 3 Revolt. That's what I get for trying to rush myself. Extra deck is going to have the Zoodiac Tigermoartar, the Zoodiac Drident, Boarbow, and Chakanine, as well as Divine Arsenal, AA-ZEUS, Sky Thunder. And then for the links, it'll have Salamangreat Almiraj, Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lord, Tri-Brigade Ferrijit the Barren Blossom, Bearbrumm the Rampant Rampager, Hraesvelgr the Desperate Doom Eagle, Rugal the Silver Sheller, Apollosua Bow the Goddess, Accesscode Talker, and then 2 Tri-Brigade Hraesvelgr the Ominous Omen. So, yep, this is pretty much the same build that I climbed around this time of the season, last season in Season 4. The same build I used for early Season 4 games too. Served me pretty well back then, and served me very well in Gold tonight as well. So, I do have replays, like, of some highlight games to show you guys. If you want to check out, like, the whole climb in its entirety, I streamed for about 5 hours altogether, then you're going to want to check out my Twitch, which the link to that is going to be in the description. There I have VODs for my streams up to, and they last for 2 weeks, so if it's more than 2 weeks from now when you're watching this, sorry, but that VOD is gone by now. But if you are watching this within 2 weeks of it being uploaded, you can go ahead and check out the VOD posted to my channel there, and there you can watch all 5 hours of these and some Adamantipator games live if you want to see the live versions. Feel free to check out my Twitch there and look at that VOD. So, yeah, let's go ahead and look at some replays of some highlight games from my climb, yeah, so far. Okay, this first duel we're going to be taking a look at is actually against a 60-card DRYTRON deck. Yeah, there's quite a bit of DRYTRON running around on the ladder right now. There always is early on in the season. That's typically one of the reasons I like to climb with Tri-ZEUS. Is because we tend to see more Tri-ZEUS and DRYTRON, particularly as opposed to climbing with Adamantipator's. It's just because Adamantiator has just a harder time against Drytron in general. Tri-ZEUS has the better matchup there, so... Yep, this hand is a little bit weird to open with, but we're still able to summon the Nervall and then go into that line there to set up the, you know, the Revolt here. However, it is important to note that since we use Nervall, we only have 3 Tri-types set up between our Grave and Banish that we can actually summon. Remember, we can't summon this Bearbrumm, so... Can't Revolt for Shurig just yet. We're going to have to wait till the Rugal goes to the grave. So, opponent's going to lead by normal summoning the Diviner. Usually if they lead with this, that's a sign of a pretty dead hand if you stop the Diviner. So, I'm going to go ahead and Ash the Diviner there. Sure enough, they're going to have Gamma and Altair and overlay those into Beta Fafnir. Definitely telltale signs of a relatively dead Drytron hand. They'll send the Alpha Thraben and activate the Matatonus Drytron. I'm going to allow that to just resolve here with no problems. They're going to be able to summon the Cyber Angel Natasha as a result. Very annoying card. One of the more annoying cards, in my opinion, in Tri-ZEUS. Or not in Tri-ZEUS, in Drytron. Believe it or not, I almost think this is as... I think Natasha is almost as annoying as Herald. Not quite up there, but definitely almost. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Nibiru here. That way, you know, the opponent won't be able to get back their Matatonus Drytron there, because they won't have any attack points to reduce. So, yep, they'll go ahead and summon Altair, you know, sending the Ben 10 anyway. It's a bit ridiculous that they still are able to make some amount of plays, you know, at this point. They are able to Natasha and steal away our Nibiru. However, I now have the live Revolt, so I'm not particularly concerned about that. They're going to go into a Link 3, they'll go into Nightmare Unicorn here. And then when they activate the Unicorn's effect, you know, I'm going to go ahead and Chain Revolt. And I'm going to banish the Natasha here, because Natasha is not once per turn. So if I banished the Unicorn, then they could, you know, run the Natasha into Shurig and then steal it. So I'm going to banish this Natasha so they can't steal any more of my things. And of course, Revolt also being good as always for the Search and Grave setup, as opposed to only the Banish there. Well, the Search more than the Grave setup with the Nervall, but the Grave setup with Kitt can sometimes help too. We don't actually even have a Kitt here, so we'll just go ahead and do the Banish and then the Search for a Fraktall. So now our opponent's only got the Unicorn and 1 card left in hand. And we are able to just, you know, combo out from here. It's not going to last much longer at this point. We're going to go straight for Hraesvelgr. We'll banish the, Unicorn and then go for Accesscode. That's more than 8,000 damage. Actually, our opponent had more than 12,000 life points, so they technically would have survived that, but they probably didn't have many more options left at that point. So yep, always satisfying to win a game against Drytrons there. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next duel. Okay, so this next duel is also going to be against Drytrons. I wonder, I could actually probably make every single duel in this video against Drytrons if I really wanted to. That's how many times I've played against them. Again, it just always happens early on in the season like this, but yep, so we're going to go ahead and lead with the Desires, trying to bait out an Ash, see if they've got one. They don't, so we can go ahead and get our Tenki out. And actually, since we have the Kitt, we can go for the Tenki plus Kitt line, which I go over in my combo guide, which can be linked in the, or is linked in the description below. But I've also gone over it in some recent videos as well. But with this combo line, if you open Tenki with either Kitt or Fraktall, then you can go into a 3-Material Apollosua with a double Dragon Lord, as well as a Revolt setup. I've already kind of started talking over the combo line, so if you want further details for that, you can, go back and watch the video and just watch what I'm doing. If it helps to hear me explain it to you as well, again, you'll want to check out that combo guide. I put in chapters, so literally you just click the link, go to the video, and then immediately you can find the chapter that says Kitt/Nervall plus Tenki, and then you'll learn how to do the combo line from there. So not only do we have the Apollosua plus 3-Material, or 3-Material Apollosua plus Dragon Lord plus Revolt setup here, you can see we've also got Imperm and Sea and Ash, so this is like the ideal turn one. Like, we have our combo, and then we have so much disruption on top of it. It's funny because people talk about how Tri-ZEUS is like a fair deck, and it really doesn't feel like it when you're playing it. Like fair compared to like DRYTRON or Rongo or something like that, but like, you know, Herald and Rongo, sure, and like Skill Drain, like sure, those cards, it's I've talked about it a lot recently, but it's the difference between being oppressive and being powerful. And there are cards that are oppressively powerful at times, but just because a card is one does not mean it's both, necessarily. It might not even necessarily be the card itself that's not powerful, but rather the deck that can best support it is still just not quite up to tier 1 level. I mean, that's the case with Phantom Knights and Rongo, but then you have DRYTRON too, but you also have Tri-ZEUS, which has like just a high power level that doesn't even need cards that are oppressive in order to be a dominant deck in a meta where there are a lot of oppressive cards. It's just that strong. But I don't think it is so strong that it isn't then in turn oppressive. Yeah, so my opponent realized here that, you know, not only am I able to negate all their stuff with the Apollosua, but I've also still got a Revolt down. So no real way they're honestly coming back from that one. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the next game. Okay, so this game was against quite an interesting deck. It's a bit of a pile, as my chat called it. You know, just a pile of cards, so to speak, but it seems to be some kind of, like, Obelisk turbo deck. Like, there's a deck to turbo out Obelisk, but, alright, here I'm gonna lead with Desires, and it's gonna get Ash. Sorry, I'm gonna move the mic cord for a second here. Hopefully they didn't make too much noise. So I do have to lead with the Kitt into Almiraj count line for this play, which isn't ideal, but, you know, if we have to do it, we will. It's pretty much my attitude about it. Opponent's gonna Gamma here. I'm actually gonna chain Maxx in the hopes of maybe drawing a Kerass or a Fraktall or a Tenki to search up a Kerass to keep going with my plays here, as opposed to just getting stopped right here. Unfortunately, we don't draw that, but we do draw Droplet. So between Droplet and Nibiru and my opponent having 4 cards, I'm pretty reasonably certain that I'm going to be able to stop whatever they do. Now, they actually summon a Cyber Sign and activate here. I'm definitely going to wait until they activate the effect in order to Droplet, because then the cost is 5,000 life points. So that works out pretty well. Opponent pays 5,000 and they don't get anything to show for it. We like to see that. We even get to send the Nervall with Droplet in order to search a Fraktall for next turn. Looks like opponent does still have some plays here, but like I said, we still also have the Nibiru in our hand, so I'm really not too concerned with what my opponent's going to be able to do. And this is another aspect of Tri-ZEUS' power that I wanted to show off, is that even in a hand with a mediocre combo line, our ability to run a lot of disruption on top of our combo pieces relatively easily makes plays like this, or makes hands like that, rather, that don't seem that great. It turns them into plays that actually end up, well, being pretty good. Like, you know, here, like we've got the Nibiru set up. Our opponent got out Colossus. We still have a Fraktall in hand. We might not be able to search. We still have plenty of Tri-types loaded up. Well, 2. 2 is going to be enough, though. Here, as we're going to get the double Dragon Lord, which I actually hemmed and hawed for a little bit during the actual live game about what Link 2 I wanted to summon here. And I ultimately decided to go with the double Dragon Lord. Because, you know, at first I was actually going to go into Bearbrumm and, you know, try to search up a Revolt that way. But then I realized, oh, wait, if I get double Dragon Lord, I can attack the token with Fraktall, and then use double Dragon Lord, send the Fraktall, bounce the Colossus, and attack directly for a game with Nibiru. My original plan was to attack over Colossus with Nibiru, and then do plays with Fraktall searches, but yeah, no, I thought about it a little bit, and I realized, oh yeah, I can just win with the double Dragon Lord. And sure enough, that is enough to get the concede from our opponent there. So, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and go into the next game. Alright, this time we actually queued up against a Subterra deck. It's funny, it seems like this... Jeez, my voice is cracked there. It's funny, it seems like this first part of the grid... Also, this is like one of the most beautiful opening hands you could ever get in Tri-ZEUS. Like, maybe if this Nervall were a Kitt or a Kerass, it'd be slightly better, but that's like nitpicking at that point. This hand is gorgeous. Just had to stop and point that out. But, yeah, no, as far as what I've been playing against this first 5 hours of the season, it seems like Gold was, like, exclusively either DRYTRON or weird off-meta stuff. So, we get a little healthy mix of both here in this video. Yeah, but this is going to be a pretty easy Apollosua plus Revolt, 3 material Apollosua plus Revolt line here. And we even have the Maxx and the Ash both to back it up. Very, very nice there. I did debate about keeping this Droplet for a little while instead of the Ash, but I ultimately decided I've already got Monster Effect Negation in the form of Apollosua, and Ash can negate a spell or trap that searches like this hidden city here. So that's ultimately the reason I decided to save Ash. It's funny, Subterrors I've played against a couple of times, even though they're a purely rogue deck, I actually find them really annoying to play against, so I actually really don't like playing against them. My opponent's going to activate Guru. I'll just go ahead and negate it with Apollosua, so that way they don't get more searches for like their Fiendess or something. I'll Revolt during the end phase, and speaking of the Fiendess, here she is. It's pretty much like, as far as I'm concerned, the main reason to even play Subterror is Fiendess, which is a very powerful card, mind you, being like an Omni-Negate hand trap, but yep, I'm going to go ahead and negate the Fiendess with the Apollosua, so that way my Revolt can resolve. And my opponent just go ahead and concedes right there. Because at that point, it's pretty obvious, you know, that, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and link into Shurig, banish the Guru. They're already in the end phase. I get a search. It's pretty easy for me to go for a game at that point. So, alright, let's go ahead and look at the next game here. Okay, next game is once again against DRYTRONS. Like I said, it really seemed like gold tonight was either DRYTRONS or off-meta stuff, at least for the first few hours, so we did play against a couple, like, Eldritches, too. I don't remember if I ended up keeping one of those games. Because I did beat Eldritch once, but I think, once or twice, but I think those are with Adamancipators now that I think about it. Okay, so our opponent is going to Orange Herald here, but this Orange Herald is actually completely fine with me, and the main reason it is because, one, they had to discard their Benton, that's always a good sign. Two, by sending this Fraktall to the grave, they've still loaded up my graveyard for the Revolt, which is the thing I care about the most. So I'm completely fine with them using the resources to negate Fraktall like this. I'm just going to go ahead and set both Revolt and Droplet, and I've also still got Maxx and Nibiru in the hand on top of that, so opponent's going to activate pre-prep here. That's fine with me. They'll add the Dawn and the Herald, so now I know that my main plan is going to be to activate the Revolt in response to the Ritual spell, so that way I can get the Banish on the Herald there. Opponent's going to activate Alpha Thurbin, or Thubin, whatever it is. It's Thubin, there's no R. They're going to activate Alpha Thubin. I'm going to respond with Maxx, of course, so that I can get some draws as well. I even draw the Ash, too. And I still have Nibiru, so... Yep, here comes the Dawn of the Herald. Sure enough, I'm going to respond with Revolt. Once again, I'm doing this so that way I can banish the Herald as soon as it comes out, and I can chain block the Shurig banish in such a way that my opponent cannot negate it with the Herald. We did this as well in a recent video that I showcased here on the channel. And since they have already activated the Ritual spell, they are locked into still summoning the Herald. They can't go back on it. I mean, they could Ritual summon something else if it were applicable, but with Dawn of the Herald in particular, you know, they have to summon Herald of Perfection, so... They'll get the effects here, but I'm going to then then I'm going to be allowed to put my effects on the chain link. And the reason this works, by the way, the reason you can chain block and banish Herald here is because all three of my optional effects have to go on the chain link at the same time before they can be responded to, and Herald can only respond to the last effect on a chain link. So that's why I put Kitt at the end, so if my opponent was going to negate anything with Herald, it would have to be Kitt. And with the Herald being banished altogether, they can't get it back with the Metatonus Drytron either, so that's really nice. They're going to go ahead and try to activate Aldehyba. I'm going to go ahead and Ash it, so that way I can negate the Ritual spell search. I mean, I know they can't go for a Herald anymore, but I still don't want them to get Ritual plays if I can help it. So, I will stop the Aldehyba search. They do have the Diviner, which they also search, but I have the Forbidden Droplet. I'll pitch my other Droplet, because I don't really need it here, and then I can just go ahead and negate this Diviner. And just stopping them at pretty much every turn, basically. Yep, they're forced to go ahead and pass at that point. Like I say, even if they're not going to be summoning a Herald, I still don't want them to get, ritual plays. And sure enough, they see a normal summoned Fraktall and know that that is going to be enough for me to, then go into access code, pop their stuff, and do 8,000 damage. So, yeah, easy peasy. Let's go on to the next one. Alright, continuing on our trend of it's either DRYTRON or off meta, now we play against Fluffles. This time we're actually going second. Our opponent's going to take the first turn there. They're going to start by activating this Patchwork, which initially has me kind of scared. I'm like, oh, they're adding Poly and Scythe. What are they going to do? Well, they just set a monster and pass, so yeah, that's pretty lucky for us. Especially looking at our hand here, we didn't have any forms of disruption here. This could have very easily been a lost game, but nope, our opponent just set a monster and passed, so that is definitely good for us. I'm going to go ahead and lead with Fraktall here instead of Desires, mostly because I have a lot of other plays in hand with Kerass and Kitt and Whiptail, that even if my Fraktall gets Ash, that's fine. I can just Desires for potentially even more disruption, because like I said, I have a lot of plays already with this hand, but they don't have the Ash, so I can go ahead and just go into Fraktall. I'm actually going to go into, Fraktall and then into Ferrijit. And I'm actually going to use Ferrijit to summon my Scythe here. Opponent's going to respond by quick effect Fusion Summoning, which I should have read Edge Imp Scythe a little more carefully. I didn't realize that's, it was able to do that, so. Opponent's going to get the Cruel Whale and stop my Zoodiac line, which is just fine with me because I still have Kerass and Kitt in hand. Opponent probably wasn't banking on that. They probably thought I was going to have to stop there, so it was a good point for my opponent there. But, yep, now I'm going to go ahead and Hraesvelgr. I'll put back the Wings, because that's our best, graveyard base card. We can then go ahead and link into Accesscode Talker. And I'll use the effect to go ahead and try to destroy the Cruel Whale here. However, I didn't realize that Jim Scythe. I really should have read the card, because I also didn't realize that it would, protect the monster there. So there is that. But, yeah, I'll go into Bearbrumm here, so that way I can use, the discard 2 effect to get back a monster and do more link summoning. Destroy or banish, rather, the Cruel Whale with a Sure Egg that I eventually summon, and just win from there, which, my opponent realizes and then concedes. So, yeah, these games, it's funny, these games here in Gold were they were all really quick like this, both ways. Excuse me. A lot of the games my opponent won is because it was DRYTRON going first, or, they got a combo going first or something, and then there were a lot of games that I won where I just activated Fraktall and then my opponent conceded. It's just kind of the nature of the game, but we do still have another game or two here to watch. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, so this game is actually against something other than Rogue or DRYTRON. It's against Phantom Knights. And we get to take the first turn here. Let's go ahead and lead with Desires, trying to bait an Ash, because I would like to resolve this Fraktall in this hand. And sure enough, our opponent does have an Ash. And as you can see, we didn't lose too much with Desires. Actually, that's a really good Desire as far as, what all we lost. It's pretty minimal, the damage there, so. Yep, now we're free to activate our Fraktall. And that's why I like activating Desires before Fraktall. Sometimes, I mean, it does kind of depend on the hand, like I said in that last game. Or it might have been the game before. But most of the time, you do probably want to Desires before you Fraktall. And try to bait that Ash, so that way, yeah, sure, you won't get your 2 draws, but then at least your plays won't be stopped. And that's definitely more important than just a couple of random draws, is your guaranteed combo line to the Revolt there. However, since we already opened Revolt in this hand, we can actually deviate from the combo line a little bit. And instead of going into Bearbrumm here, we can just go into Double Dragon Lord and then make a 2-material Apollosua. Again, because we have a Revolt already in our hand. So that's pretty nice. Opponent's going to activate the Danger Jackalope. I'm not going to negate that effect with Apollosua, the reveal effect, because the reveal effect is not once per turn. So if my opponent revealed the Jackalope and then I negated with Apollosua, well, then they would just be able to reveal, with the Apollosua, or they'd be able to reveal the Jackalope yet again, and my Apollosua will have done nothing. So it's an important distinction I want to make here, that I am not using Apollosua to negate the reveal effect, but when the Jackalope discards itself, that is now a separate effect that activates to special summon a danger monster from your deck. So When this effect activates in Grave, I'm going to Apollosua that. Again, the key difference there being that, you know, the condition for this effect, and also that effect can only be used once per turn, but also the condition has already been met of being discarded and can't be met again. Whereas the condition for this effect is not once per turn, and is simply revealing the card from your hand. So you don't want to Apollosua or Ash danger monsters. Now, if you use an effect that negates and destroys, then that will negate the effect and send the monster to the graveyard, so they won't be able to use it again. That's fine to do for danger effects, but I just want to make that distinction here. I feel like it's important to make that maybe not every player knows. Opponent has another danger Jackalope. So this one, again, I'm not negating, well, rather, I'm not negating this one at all because, you know, it was the reveal effect, like I mentioned. We're not going to negate that because it's once per turn. This time my opponent discarded another card in their hand, so special summoning the Danger Jackalope and then drawing a card, like so, is all part of the same effect. So that's why this one got summoned, but this one didn't. And speaking of dangers, our opponent then has yet another danger monster. This time it's Danger Tsukinoko. Just like the Jackalope, just like all danger monsters, I'm not going to negate the reveal effect. I'm going to let that activate. But now that it's discarded itself, the ability to special summon itself is a separate effect that is now activating. That one I am going to negate with Apollosua. I wanted to show this game, and I wanted to pause there and talk about that in real time, because at a glance it might be, you know, weird seeing me be, like, letting a danger effect resolve, but then negating it, and then letting another one resolve, but then negating it, you know, kind of going back and forth like that. I wanted to explain exactly why that was happening. So, opponent's going to summon a Torn Scales, and then overlay, Exceed Summon into the Break Sword. And now at this point, I no longer need this Apollosua, so I can go ahead and use the Double Dragon Lord, sending the Apollosua to bounce the Break Sword back to the extra deck. Very nice to do that, because since I am not destroying it, but bouncing it, they are not going to be able to summon the Phantom Knights from Grave. Opponent's going to activate now Fogblade in order to summon back the Torn Scales. They'll then activate Torn Scales effect, discarding the last card in their hand of their Fogblade to try to set up more of their graveyard. But at this point, I'm just pretty much bullying. I mean, I can't deny it at all. At this point, what I'm doing is just bullying to this poor Phantom Knights player here. I could have just banished on the summon, but I'm just going to take another step further and just imperm the Torn Scales. Looking back, and honestly, even in the moment, I kind of knew that wasn't the right play. Like I said, I'm just being a bully at this point. And sure enough, I'm going to go ahead and flip a Revolt during the end phase there, and that's going to be enough to get the concede from my opponent. So, okay, cool. We have a decent showing of games there. Yeah, they were all kind of like, I don't want to say they were all quick, but they were all quick-ish. I mean, it's kind of the nature of the beginning of the format as well. Everybody's in a huge, eager rush to climb, so you know they're kind of quick to play, kind of quick to concede, so to speak. But yeah, I just wanted to show off, like I said, a decent a showing of my most decent games from the gold climb there up to plat. So, all right, let's go ahead and look at the deck one more time as we go to the outro. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching these duels. As always, it means a lot to me, especially if you're watching to the very end like this. Again, if you prefer the live action style, watching the duels as opposed to going through a highlight reel, like with the replays here, which I do plan on doing for probably all, if not all, then definitely most of my games actually climbing up to Diamond 1. You know, I've mentioned this a couple of times before, but generally trying to record live commentary while also climbing, it generally just slows the climbing process down. So that's also why I didn't stream more of my games, is because one, I wanted to take a break, but two, even when I got back on, you know, I knew I wanted to just kind of like put my nose down and grind it out. So that's going to be my plan moving forward here. But these games in particular, again, you can, if you want to catch them live, you actually can. Once again, you're going to want to check out the description. Go to twitch.tv/HexLikesLive, and there you will find, if it's within 2 weeks of this video being posted, a VOD that will show the entire 5-hour stream, so you can watch as much of the live gameplay as you would like to there. And while you're over there, you know, you might as well go ahead and give me a follow so you can go ahead and stay up to date on when I stream. If you would like to follow me on Twitter to get advanced notifications of when I stream, you can do that as well, as I will always tweet out at least an hour before I actually end up going live, so that way you can kind of plan better and get a advanced notice there if you're on Twitter. But like I said, as always, even if you're not checking those out or commenting or subscribing, as long as you're watching to the end, that's really what means the most to me. And it does mean a lot to me because, you know, these videos can get kind of long if I can talk. Sometimes, I mean, this one isn't particularly long, but sometimes I let myself get up to like 45 minutes to an hour. And if you're watching until the end of those videos as well as this one, that's, you know, extra kudos to you. Like, I'm so appreciative of that. I mean, I'm appreciative of any amount of viewing, really, to be honest. I don't want to seem like I'm not appreciative of anybody. I'm just, there's different levels of appreciation for watching to the end, commenting, subscribing, and checking out the Twitch. Okay. Not only am I talking in circles at the end of this video, like I always do, but now I'm talking in circles about promoting myself. So, why don't we just, just put a lid on that and just be done with that. So, thank you again for watching. I appreciate it. Without further ado, this is Xlex signing out, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.